Just like that, we're back. It's me, it's PLD. Welcome to Class Action Rebooted.
The classiest movie show on the interwebs.
And this show this week is all about Top Gun.
It's funny.
So, Matty, how was Celebration?
I was going to say, we wrote this intro. It's a great thing. We wrote this intro. We all professional about it. We're going to do it. And then Matty, this week's all about Top Gun. And then we're going to open up with Celebration because Matty Gunner got to go to Celebration. Talk to us, Matty. Let's hear about Celebration first before we get into our topic.
Celebration, I can quite honestly say, was the best weekend I have had in a very, very long time.
Nice.
Very, very long time. I not just because I love the area. Getting to see so many people from our community, especially. Shout out to Saul, Sean Sullivan, Jillian Marie, Brandon Hanna, Chandru, everyone who was there, Frankie Janish. It was just nice having everyone all in the same place to celebrate this one thing that we all love and see people come from all over the world to celebrate Star Wars.
Okay, guys, I'm going to pause here for a second. I think we're not live, which is weird. It says we're live, but I just opened up the YouTube thing, and it's.
I think I have a friend who's watching, so I'm gonna ask him.
I'm sorry for the bad thing. I just opened up YouTube, and it looks like we're still on.
It says waiting.
So it says waiting.
Oh, this reeks of Action Industries the week before.
This really does. This really does.
Oh no, we're not live. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Now it says 6 people watching. Do we got a delay?
I don't think we're live yet. Maybe there's a long delay.
Now we're live. Now we're live.
Are we?
Now we're live. All right, sweet. Well, we are really weird, guys. This is very professional, very Action Industry oriented. All right. Let's start again. It's me. It's PLD. Welcome to Class Action Rebooted again.
The classiest movie show on the interwebs.
And this week's episode, again.
All right, fuck it. It's not all about Top Gun now. Let's go. Matty, go into your Celebration talk. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We're sorry for the internet. It was a weird internet thing. Like we hit stream, we hit and go live, and said we were live, and we weren't live. But now we're live. Matty Gunner, take it away. How was Star Wars Celebration?
Celebration was awesome. As I was saying, it was cool seeing so many of our friends and people from our community come together to celebrate Star Wars. Yeah, and so many people like from across the world all come together for this one thing, and it was kind of like the biggest gathering I've been to in a long time, and it was for sure the best weekend I've had in a long time. A lot of really cool reveals that the general public, I guess, weren't supposed to see, but you guys found out about anyway, like the Ahsoka footage, the Mando footage. We got a rare appearance from Dave, and I'm not talking about Filoni. He was there, but they actually had the puppet of Grogu, aka Dave.
All right, here's a real big question first, though.
Go on.
Where was Liam? And did he leave Celebration alive?
I did see one person cameo see someone cosplay as Liam. I can only assume that someone cosplayed as Anakin cut his head off.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on.
But yeah, it was a great time. Obviously, next year Celebration's coming home. It's coming back to London. Obviously, I expect to see everyone who was there this weekend, and you guys especially. Jarvi, I know it's a relative quick flight for you, so
I might take you up on that. Yeah, seriously, because initially the funny thing was I had a report from a couple of friends actually, who were saying the rumor was it was going to be in Orlando next year. So I was like, all hyped up. Like, you know what?
I got the same message.
I got a little raise situation. I'm better off financially a little bit potentially next year. I'm like, you know what? I think I could just plan it out. We're going to do Orlando. I start talking to people, and then the next day it was like London. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit different. But I got myself already amped up, so I'm
London, baby.
I'm gonna try to make London work.
London, baby.
So
but yeah, I got the same message as you did about Orlando, and then literally the next day, I won't say who told me, but it's someone that we know that's very prevalent in the Star Wars YouTube space.
Oh.
Told me, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to be coming to your city, and I was like, fucking A, brilliant.
Nice.
So,
all right, that makes sense. Either way, I'm going to try it. I would like it would be a good time because I'd like to do London anyway because I like I've never been to London and I'm obviously a big Queen fan, so it'd be a good opportunity for me to take advantage. But that's neither here nor there. We had some great Star Wars talk. Obviously, Obi-Wan came out, and we have a lot to talk about Obi-Wan as well. We will be revitalizing the Scoundrels, but we think we want to do, we talked about it just pre-stage before we went live here. I think we're going to have one episode of Scoundrels for the entire run of Obi-Wan. So when Obi-Wan ends, we'll have a big, like, hour-long review session where we talk about everything that went down throughout the whole 6-episode series. So look forward to that. I'll let you know when that's going to air as soon as we can. It might be a chance where maybe we take a week off Class Action. Maybe that's how we do it. I don't know. Let's figure out how we're going to do it. Yeah. And we will go from there. But this week is not about Star Wars. This week is about the other star in the galaxy, the biggest star in the galaxy at this time, Tom Cruise. Like that. Tom Cruise, TC legend himself. We actually had him go up against Nick Cage, and he lost last week to Nick Cage. Damn. Spoilers, but that's okay. You want to check out?
He's going to win this week.
He is definitely going to win this week because he is in both movies. We are putting up Top Gun Maverick, which is many people's film of the year already from everything I've heard. Like, a lot of people are saying this is definitely top 3, top 4, top 2, some people's favorite film of the year. I would say it's in my top 3, but they all kind of interchange for me. So it's interesting to see. And we're putting up against the OG, the original Top Gun. And it's interesting to see what this is going to do. Because I mentioned this category, this matchup with a couple people, and almost everybody said Top Gun Maverick wipes the floor with Top Gun. And I'm like, wow, okay.
That's what most people are saying on the internet. But I think this will be a very cool matchup for these two movies. Not just picking, one off the top, just going through the categories, analyzing it. I think I'm fine with either one winning.
Right.
To be sure.
Well, can I make a quick confession?
Sure.
I saw this movie 3 hours ago.
The original? Or
Maverick? No, Maverick.
Oh, I thought you saw it beforehand.
Weren't you flying?
I landed, and then I dumped my stuff off, and then I went straight to the cinema to watch it.
Oh, no,
that was your first view.
That was my first viewing.
Wow. Okay, so fresh take right off the presses there for this.
Obviously, I had plans to go watch it Friday night, but then I just started hanging out with people, and I was just like, I'd much rather do this than go watch Top Gun Maverick on my own.
I get it. I get that. That's absolutely understandable. Well, if you don't know Class Action, this is obviously only our second show in the reboot. We had about 49 episodes on Action Industries, the home of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy, where we did the first 49 episodes of the Class Action. What you don't know is we take two items, whether it be actors, franchises, directors, composers, characters, anything, and put them up against each other. We give them categories. Usually it's 5 categories that are custom made, and that we put them up against each other to steel cage match to death. And after we fight through it, we start just determine who actually wins the case. In this case, we actually have 7 categories. We just couldn't stop ourselves. Interested to see. And I want to get a quick, before we get into our games, which we have a couple of games this week, and our actual trial, I want to have the other section of opening statements we've never done. I'm kind of doing this live. I want to know, Matty Gunner, off the top of your head, without talking about the categories, what was your initial instinct? Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick?
Top Gun Maverick.
Jarvi?
Top Gun Maverick.
Mine as well.
So that was what did we call this segment?
I can't remember what we called this segment. I'll have to look into it. We had the segment.
We had Snap Judgment.
Snap Judgment. That was it. Snap Judgment. Thank you, Jarvi. I'm old. I don't have memory like you guys have. So Snap Judgment is the name of that. That's right. We figured it out. And the funny thing is, I think I call myself, I said my Snap Judgment of Top Gun Maverick is probably the more interesting of the crew for one reason only. Not to pat myself on the back, but I'm old enough to have seen the OG Top Gun in the theaters when it came out. So if the nostalgia was going to hit anybody hardest here, it probably would have been me. That's my assumption. Maybe not assumption. That's my prediction. So given that, I'm still saying Top Gun Maverick. So it reached to see what our categories do come up with. But before we get to our 7 categories, we have 2 games we like to play. Of course, the first and best game that we ever came up with is, of course, what would Ed Harris play?
We could do a whole show about just recasting movies with Ed Harris, I feel like.
Don't give me. I could actually do that. I could make that happen. Maybe it's a Patreon show. That's worth it because we'll be in depth on that one. Well, in this case, obviously, Ed Harris was actually in Top Gun Maverick, and he was damn good.
Yeah.
He took his 5 minutes of fame and just really made the best out of them.
Milked it a little bit.
Absolutely.
One more thing. I think we're slightly going to go into talking about Top Gun Maverick. We will be talking spoilers about Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
Just a heads up for everyone. Top Gun Maverick spoilers coming your way.
Although I don't think it was a spoiler much that he's in the movie because he was at least in the trailer for a second. But
I wanted to talk about that he should have been more, that he should have come back like Strickland did in the first Top Gun, just like you said, PLD. And that was the only thing that was missing from his performance.
Jarvi and I did have this conversation. Both of us were expecting that little moment back in the hangar at the end that he would come back and it'd be something like a quick little cop. He'd be like, not today. And Harris would be like, yeah, we'll talk later, but maybe not today or something like that. I'd like be some kind of respect a moment or something. Would have been great, but that's okay. That's okay. So we're going to take this instead because he said he was in Top Gun Maverick. We're going to recast Ed Harris, primetime Ed Harris, in the 1986 film. And what would you do? What would you put him as? I would like to go first if I could.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I did go through, obviously, a lot of characters you could talk about. Ed Harris could replace Tom Cruise, for Christ's sake. I wouldn't do that myself.
Whoa.
He could. He absolutely could. He would. If you think Ed Harris wouldn't be a great Maverick, you're fucking out of your mind. But I went through it, and I didn't want to play as Tom Cruise. The obvious choice for me was to James Holcomb character.
Right.
They're kind of like the similar characters, right? It's the bald guy in the beginning who chews Maverick out and then sends him to Top Gun. Similar roles. I didn't want to do that either. My gut then told me, going through, do I do whatever? You got the Michael Ironside role, you got the Tom Skerritt role, a lot of different roles. You could Goose. I almost went to Jester, the Michael Ironside role, because he's very gruff and very grim. I decided against it. You know why? Because I love me some fucking Michael Ironside, and if I could have Ed Harris and Michael Ironside in the same goddamn movie, I'm taking it. So I am going to take Ed Harris and put him in Tom Skerritt's role of Viper.
Nice. All right.
I think it's a perfect fit for him in a way because we always kind of cast him in these really intense roles, obviously, because he's very good at being intense. He has this side to him, though. Like you see him in The Abyss, you see him in roles like that, or he could have that vulnerable moment. He can still have the gruffness because there's a lot of times where Viper gets a little harsh on him. He calls him out for flying back and things like that. But he also has those scenes where he's like, I flew with your father. He was good, kind of thing. I think Ed Harris is Charlie. That's a funny one.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. That's what I actually thought you were gonna do, as casting as Kelly McGillis.
That would be funny. Actually, that would be pretty funny. But then I'd have to cast myself as Maverick, right? That's what it is.
Would have to happen.
But no, I do like him as Viper. I think he would make a great Viper. That's what I'm going with. So
a little bit of a softer commanding officer.
Yes,
because he does have that fatherly sort of
vibe to him.
Man, yeah. I hate the word vibe, but I'm gonna say vibe. Yeah.
All right, Jarvi, it's your turn, Jarvi.
All right, so I'm gonna take a huge turn with this one.
Oh,
this recast is gonna change the vibe of the movie. I'm gonna recast Ed Harris as Goose. Now, hear me out. This will make it a completely different type of Goose. He's a hard ass. He's calculated. He's brutal, but he's great at what he does, and he always gets the job done. He's like the best. What do you call it when he's in the cockpit? Not a wingman,
interceptor,
co-pilot.
Yeah,
co-pilot. He's like the perfect co-pilot. Maverick, he's more of like this, like the way he is, like this jokey flying ace. And that will bring a whole new, different dynamic to their friendship. And their friendship is strong. That's like what drives this movie. They are bros for life, and they support each other in every way. Goose is always worried about Maverick's flying, but in a different way. He's always like on his ass, like, you're not doing this by the book. You should have done that. Like, he's by the book, a hard ass. Maverick knows it, but he knows there is no other way he could be as good as he is if he changed who he was. So I think them together, in a different kind of dynamic, that's what I'd cast Ed Harris as. I
really like the idea. I'm actually very curious how would that work, because it definitely has a different vibe. Interesting. Real quick before we get into yours, Matty, I do want to hashtag salute John Lestrana in the Streamlabs. Thank you, John. I appreciate everything you do. Says, quote, "It's not the plane, It's the pilot. Quote from Sean Boswell / Dominic Toretto / Rooster. He had this nice crossover, Fast and Furious, Top Gun, which is going to happen at some point. Top Gun 3. It's all about the family. That's where eventually it's going to happen. Vin Diesel versus Tom Cruise in a little.
No.
It could happen. It could happen.
No.
I'll give John Lucian the credit though. He's always got a quote ready. I love it. All right, Matty, where do you go on recasting Ed Harris?
I'm going to recast him as his own role, not the role that he plays, but I'm going to give him a new one.
Okay.
The moment at the beginning of the original Top Gun where Maverick is riding his motorbike along the runway, which, by the way, shout out to this YouTuber, Legal Eagle. I watched his video that he did. It was like a couple of days ago on all the different laws that Maverick breaks and all the war crimes that Maverick commits. And like he lists all the charges, and like apparently he'd be up for the death penalty just for flying inverted. But I would cast Ed Harris as like a little quick like flash away of like an officer standing at the post at the end of the runway, and like Maverick has to like slow, like either races past him, and you just see Ed Harris just like look as Maverick races past, or
But dust in his eyes.
Yeah, or you see like Ed Harris standing there as an officer, like at the end of the runway, and he has to like slow down and be like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, actually funny.
So a small role.
A small role. That's okay. Actually, it's funny you say that. You bring it up because there's actually some trivia from the original Top Gun that I had found out about. Michael Ironside, who again I love, he was talking in the interview it was maybe in a commentary. I remember hearing about it during Top Gun. They were on set. Some soldier ran by, or some sailor ran by, like running by him, and Michael Ironside actually gave him a stern look, and he was so in character that the recruit or whatever completely bought that he was an officer, slowed down, saluted him, and then just walked away until he was off and kept running.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So Michael Ironside is pretty intimidating.
It's kind of funny that his call sign is Jester, because he's the more intimidating of even him and Viper.
Yeah, that's true.
It's called Jester.
I don't know. That's a good point. Maybe it's to undermine him or to maybe it's to make you, what's that word? Underestimate him.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Galactus. Okay, well that's cool. That is what Ed Harris play. I like that. We're next up was our next game. We didn't get to do this last week because we had our guests Ben and Drew weighing in on CC Legend versus Nick Cage. But this is Richard-Erik Jarvi's favorite game to introduce. Anyway, this is called the Public Defender.
You would want to know, why do we call this one the Public Defender? It's pretty much an off-the-cuff list. So Paul will be giving me and Matty a topic, for example, best Tom Cruise action scenes. We have not prepared this. We're not ready for this. So this is why we call it the Public Defender, because in movies, usually the Public Defender is portrayed as this overworked, underpaid kind of a guy. He shows up in court. He's just going to make stuff up on the spot, off the cuff. Nothing against public defenders in real life. Might need one day.
Definitely.
That needed to be said.
You're so afraid of that. I love that. You have to see. That's just what he's saying. I didn't make up this segment. This is all Jarvi's segment. So if you're offended by it, #blame Jarvi.
And I'm gonna need a public defender to get me out of these charges.
That's true. There you go. Well, I'm actually kind of interested in what Jarvi, because we actually wrote right before the show began, a couple hours before. Jarvi said, "I have one." I was like, "I have one too." And Jarvi deferred to me, so I am kind of interested to see what Jarvi's would have been. But
right.
Yeah, what would yours have been?
Mine was gonna be very specific. I was gonna say top 3 greatest airport scenes. Scenes in an airport.
Okay. Well, mine is not. I'm going to go with top 3 legacy sequels that are over 15 years past their.
All right. So I'm going to pull an audible here and say it's supposed to be a top 3, but I think either of us should get 2. So let's do a top 4 again. So because otherwise we're just going back and forth. And who gets the third one?
That's fine.
Top 3 legacy sequels. All right. I've got one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Tron Legacy.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
It's got legacy in the title.
Right in the title. There you go. All right,
But
that's
it's
one.
freaking awesome.
It is. I actually, to be honest, I like that one better than the original at this point. That's a hot
Same
take
here.
now.
For sure.
What about you, Matt? You got one in mind, or are you still thinking? I can give you my number one right away.
I guess Creed? Would Creed count as a legacy sequel?
Creed would absolutely
count
as a legacy sequel. Doesn't have to be like no movies in between. It has to be just 30 years or 15 years past the original. So absolutely that counts. And I'll go with that.
Okay.
Galactus actually took my favorite. Here's my favorite right there.
That's probably the best
Blade Runner
one.
2049.
That's probably the number one, the best one.
That is mine. Blade Runner 2049 is definitively my pick. By far.
Sorry, what was Matty's?
Creed.
Okay.
That's a solid
All right,
choice.
Back to me. So I'm gonna completely turn off everyone who's watching now. Not to say because it's a top 4, but I'm the only one who actually loves this movie.
Okay.
And also I'm panicking and I don't have a better choice. I'm gonna say Colin Farrell in Total Recall. I actually like that movie.
I'd say that.
Jarvi's been fired.
Yeah, he's gone.
It's now Matty Gunner and I on Class Action.
Bring him back. Let him explain himself.
Yeah, go ahead. Explain yourself. Explain.
Kate Beckinsale.
Okay, and?
Nothing. Do I need to explain Kate Matty, of all the people, do I need to explain Kate Beckinsale to you?
Bro, I am sorry, but even my future ex-wife could not save that dumpster fire of a movie.
I will say
before you comment on this, I'll say I didn't see Total Recall before seeing the remake or the rebookquel, whatever the resequel,
You know
what the fuck it's called.
That is technically a good point. Kelly's objecting. It is a reboot, not a sequel.
But it's still a kind of.
No, it's not. It's not. That's a Kelly. That's an objection. Objection is sustained. I'm gonna go with objection is stay. So I'm staying on that one. That one's thrown out, Jarvi. It's thrown out.
I think I've got a good one, and I think it's kind of on theme because
Jarvi's very mad.
No, I'm trying to think of another. I got nothing. All right, Matty, you go.
I don't. Is it a legacy sequel? But it's a cruise movie. Is The Color of Money a legacy sequel because of The Hustler?
Is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I would go with that 100%. I'd go with that one. I'll give you credit for that one. That's a good one. Okay. That's a solid choice. Okay. I like that. I do like that.
The Color of Money is a sequel?
Yeah, to The Hustler.
To The Hustler, Paul Newman's character.
I had no idea.
You learn something every day.
When did The Hustler come out? Was it the 70s, right?
The Hustler came out before that even, I think. It was 19, let me see. It was 1961.
Damn.
Not 70s, yeah, I knew it was 60s, but I didn't
okay.
that.
So, yeah.
There you go. Perfect. I'll throw one out there. I'm going to stay in the same, I'll throw in the same category that Matty went with. I think Rocky Balboa is a great legacy sequel.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's the best of the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Big let's do it.
Well,
That's twice for me. That's strike two for Jarvi.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go quite that far to the best of, but it's
it is to me. It is
amongst the best.
To Jarvi, it is personal taste.
Yes.
All right, so my actual pick then.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot it already. What did I? Oh yeah, not too much time has passed for this one, but I kind of would still call this a legacy sequel. Bad Boys for Life. I know it's very close. It's like 19 years has passed.
I will give it. I will give it to you. I will allow it. A little skirting of the rules. I'll definitely allow that. Not bad.
Well, it was pretty bad. Matty's was way, but no, Tron Legacy was a good pick, I think, on my part. But the other one,
brilliant pick. Sweet. There you go.
Yeah,
Galactus has a good point. Fast and the Furious is a legacy sequel to Point Break. That's not bad.
That's true. At least I didn't say Point Break. Point Break.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
would
not a
actually
sequel.
legitimately
It's not a
fired you.
sequel.
If
No.
if you'd have said the Italian Job remake, like I would have been on a plane to Estonia
But
to
we're-
smack you.
We're talking sequels,
Oh.
right? That's
Yeah,
also
sequel.
a
It's also
remake.
reboot. Yeah, reboot.
Is
You
it
gotta
a?
do
Oh yeah, of course it's a reboot. Okay, I'm just glad you didn't say it.
This is actually an interesting question. We shouldn't go far. This is we go way off depth talking about that. Star Trek 09.
Oh my god, that
Is
would
that
probably be.
a legacy sequel? It kind of is because of the whole timeline thing. So technically
I'd
speaking,
say
it is.
It works. Yeah.
I think you could make an argument that that could work. I like that.
Godfather trilogy is not a like if they
That's close.
made a
Godfather
sequel
3.
now, it would work.
No,
but-
Godfather 3 was released in 1990. And Godfather 2 was released in 7. That actually does technically fit. I said
Would it?
15 years. I said 15
I
years.
thought there was like the trilogy in place. Or,
Godfather
like,
1 was 71. Godfather 2 was 72. Or what did I say? 72. 74. I'm getting my years mixed up. I was just doing Godfather 2 is
Wasn't
74.
three, like-
Right. 72, 74, and then 1990.
Hmm.
I mean, trilogy in place or not, still a legacy sequel, theoretically. So Godfather 3 would still count. I'd give it to it. So
All right, PLD, this is your time to shine.
I didn't get my one yet.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you said
No.
2. Sorry.
Oh, I've said 2. I thought we were giving 3.
God, give me
No,
a
no. We're doing 2 and 2 each. 2 each.
Oh, okay.
Because it's supposed to be a top 3
Wonderful.
altogether, but there's 2 of
Wonderful.
us, so I figured we should give one more.
Good enough. Good enough. All right. Well, that's the Public Defender. Now we are going to break into our actual trial. Top Gun versus Top Gun Maverick. 7 categories to go.
Not
I'm
yours,
gonna
PLD? Usually Public Defender, the one who gives the
Blade
topic
Runner's my
just
best.
to...
Blade Runner's my best. That's what I'm going to go with.
All
Blade
right.
Runner. I mean, that's what
We
I
are probably going to get hung, drawn, and quartered for not mentioning Mad Max Fury Road, but I'm okay with it.
Oh,
good choice.
fuck me.
That is a good choice. That would have been my other one at that point. And if I had to do top 3, that would have been my other one.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'd say Blade Runner is the actual first one. Star Trek 09. Now, I'd still go Tron Legacy over Fury Road. But Fury
Really?
Road would be the fourth one. I freaking love Tron Legacy.
I know you love Tom. I love that I love that you love Legacy so much. I do love Legacy too. Actually, I do enjoy it. I don't know if I can say it's better than Fury Road though. But I don't know. I have to say. All right, we got our categories. Here we go, and I'll have to try to score this up.
This is going to be, I feel like this is going to be a close one. Looking at these categories.
All right, we're gonna start with number 1. Better music, Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick. I'll begin the first one. This is the one where I'm going to automatically go OG Top Gun.
Yeah,
And here's why.
makes sense.
First of all, a lot of the best music in Maverick
Yeah.
was just reprises from the original OG soundtrack. Soundtrack for Maverick and the new stuff was great, but this was all the best parts of it were still the remakes of the reprises of the OG stuff. Then you got to put something like Lady Gaga song, fine, great. Oh, come on. Take My Breath Away, Danger Zone, which they actually just reused for the next one.
The anthem.
To me, there's no even argument here for me. Top Gun wins this one hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I was even listening to the actual score by, I think it was like Harold Fulton. Yeah. Like the score for the new one, and there was like Hans Zimmer was brought in there. There was like, and the score is actually pretty fucking good. When Cruise goes into the whatever the stealth-looking plane doing his Mach 10 thing,
right?
Like the score that's in the background is so fucking good.
Yeah. I'm not going to discount it at all.
Yeah. No, I'm just because I'm going Top Gun 86. Like there's not even a fucking question. But I'm just trying to say there's some really great music, but exactly what you said. Like they're just trying to do what the original did. It's just the way it is. And even the movie started with the actual anthem and then rolled into Danger Zone.
Absolutely. Right in there. Gunnar, are you going to be dissenter here?
No, I am going to agree with Top Gun 1. And a big part of it is the replay value of the songs and the placement of the songs. While I did like that the very first track that we hear from the soundtrack in Top Gun Maverick was Danger Zone, I do feel like it didn't cheapen the moment, but I was just kind of like, hey, I feel like if you'd have put it somewhere else, if you'd have put it at the moment where him and Rooster have got in the F-14 at the end,
Right.
and then they take off and Danger Zone hits,
You're
I feel
talking like you're talking like two pulling a Creed right there, like saving Danger
I'm
Zone
getting goosebumps.
like
So
saving it to the end. Like they're in the F-14, they're about to take off. You don't think they're gonna make it, and he just goes over. And as soon as the wheel gets clipped off, that's when you hit it. And as far as Lady Gaga's song goes, I've listened to that song on its own. It doesn't hold up to me without that scene. In that scene, it fits. However, if you go to any wedding, any school disco or anything, Take My Breath Away is used as a song for a slow dance. And like you hear it, you know it. I don't think Lady Gaga's song is going to have that same staying power. I really don't. I think it's going to be that song from Top Gun Maverick.
I don't disagree. I really don't disagree. It was fine. It was a fine song. I actually listened to it again like about an hour ago, just trying to think, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what this song is. I mean, the funniest part about it to me is that she's just trying to ape an '80s power ballad. Also, that's just what it is. Is she's trying to remember? It's no Take My Breath Away. I'm humming Take My Breath Away 30 years later, 40 years later almost. This one, it's fine. It's fine.
It's my most listened song. It's my most played song on Spotify right now. I truly love that song, but it's because of the music video for this song. Because I saw the music video, I have the scenes in my head. Whenever I'm listening to it, I'm just picturing the video. It works in the context of the movie, but Take My Breath Away, Danger Zone, anything else, just you need none of that. It's as iconic as it is for a reason. And something that Matty said made me realize we are getting old. He said school disco.
Yeah.
We're getting fucking old.
Yeah.
School disco.
Fair enough. All right. That is our first category. Let's go to the second category. Better cruise. Better cruise between Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Now, that is a tough category, so I'm going to let you start with that one. Jarvi, you're the first one on this one.
All right. This is tough. Well, I love both cruises in both movies for different reasons. The raw, energetic cruise in Top Gun 86, super entertaining. He has his quips, he sings, he always goes to the extreme. And that's exactly what like Cruise was like in his younger days as well. Like he just carries over to the role perfectly. In Maverick, Cruise doesn't lose that cruisiness at all. He's seasoned, he's grizzled, he's more balanced, but he still has that edginess that Maverick has to have. He's still pushing the limits, still hasn't settled down, acts like a young kid at times. But then we see the change in him. We see that change in Top Gun Maverick. His arc sort of changes. And that makes me pick Maverick. We see the change. We did see some change in 86, Top Gun 86, but he was still that sort of flying ace kind of a guy. Here, he just, I don't know, something like switches in him. He settles down.
All right. Remember the chat. You can always pitch in and let us know what you think. It's interesting to see what you think on all these categories: music, cruise. Matty, let's continue for you. Which one's the better cruise for you?
I have to go original.
Original, okay.
I'm gonna pick. I do love that. In this one, Tom really made me rethink my pick for better potential from last week. If I'd have seen Top Gun Maverick, I now would go back and say Tom Cruise over Nick Cage, because he's shown me with this he can do dramatic roles. And I remember I said last week the reason he's appearing at stuff like Cannes is because that's the direction he's going to go in next for his career. However, something about smooth cruise and cocky cruise like that sticks in my heart, and that's just a, like, to me that's prime Cruise. That's peak Cruise, where no one could touch him. And I mean, no one could touch him as a movie star now, but like then he was like supernova. Like no one was getting anywhere near him.
That's fair. Joseph Boros, always good to see you
in the
chat, my friend. So this is my decision now. I went about this kind of a weird way. I kind of like had to separate in my mind better Cruise, which is the category I asked, or better Maverick, which I had to separate it from. Like, which is the better Maverick?
Right.
So there is difference between that. So I try to settle that down. And I agree with both of you, which is funny.
Because
that's why
I said Maverick. I went the Maverick way when I think about my argument now.
And that's okay. It's okay because I mean, obviously we have these categories. It's up to us to interpret them as best we can. If we have different interpretations, it's part of the process. I do like what I saw out of Maverick quite a bit. We definitely saw but it's. I guess I want to say the reason why I had a hard time with this is that each cruise was perfect for the role that Maverick needs to be in for the film. So it's really extra hard to say which one is better because the cruise I was in Top Gun Maverick would not have been as good in Top Gun OG, and the cruise in Top Gun OG would certainly not be as good in the Top Gun Maverick side. I just want to say, hey, Fedora, also, I love you, girl.
What's up?
Much love. So I went back and forth a bunch on this one. And while Maverick has a great sense of emotional arc to him in this one, I feel like original Top Gun was more cruisy, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Like when you think about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible and Top Guns and things like that, think about the coggy bastard that was in the OG Top Gun. He has those emotional moments like Jarvi mentioned. Maverick was definitely more of a vulnerable side. I think I actually like the Maverick in Maverick better in a way. I think it's a much more layered character, much more of a deeper, in-depth character that you can really sink your teeth into, which is kind of why I really, really enjoyed what they did with Top Gun Maverick. But if I'm going to go with the better Cruise, Tom Cruise is better when he's Tom Cruise. And so I'm going to go OG.
All right. So Christo said, I don't agree. I think Tom Cruise might actually be in better shape when he's 60.
It could be.
Than he was
in pretty damn good shape.
He is fucking crazy shape.
All right. We got the next one, which Gunnar will start with this one. Better wingmen / commanding officers. So basically the surrounding characters that aren't female.
Yeah, this is pretty much supporting cast. And
I mean, you got Phoenix in Maverick. She was right.
That's what I said. The only one, the one female pilot. The rest of it is all unfortunately male. That's just unfortunately the way it is. Basically separating out the pilots and commanding officers versus the love interest, so to speak.
This is difficult because I really like John Hamm in Maverick, but better wingmen. You can't beat Iceman. You can't beat Iceman. He really challenged Maverick. Like he openly said, you're dangerous. You're dangerous to fly with. You're gonna get someone killed. But he still flew with him anyway. Because he had to. But he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. If you look at someone like Hangman in Maverick.
Bagman.
Yeah, yes.
Like Iceman was cocky as shit. I feel like Hangman was like supposed to be like the Iceman, the peak Iceman kind of role for Maverick. He just pissed me off. Like I thought him, I wouldn't want to fly with you.
I just want to interject here. I kind of find it funny and something to think about is that honestly speaking, Hangman was actually acting much more like Tom Cruise did in the original.
Oh, he was Iceman meets Maverick.
He was the Maverick actually of the film, even though he was like kind of modeled after Iceman.
And it's like, he shot down one fighter plane and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm really good." It's like, bro, shut up! Like he's just annoying, and I get that's the character that he's supposed to be, but like, Iceman, yeah, I gotta go OG.
Okay.
As much and his commanding officers, as much as I like. Oh, dude, it's difficult because I really love Hondo as well. No, I'm going OG.
Okay. Well, I will say I definitely widened my search here during this category. I kind of was very loose in my definition of wingmen and commanding officers. I would think the funny thing is I think everybody would originally just say that I'm going to go with Maverick because of Ed Harris. I took Ed Harris out of this for my own sake, just for the purposes of thinking about what else it would be. And actually, I still ended up with Maverick. Here's why. I love a Top Gun. I love Iceman. Top Gun Maverick has Iceman as a sidekick still. It's different different way, but Iceman, the emotional Iceman who's lived his way, has been carrying Maverick throughout his career, it seems like. What's a better wingman than that? We got Hondo, which I think Hondo is more of a wingman. Hondo is more like Goose than Rooster was in a way. Because in Top Gun, you had that role where you had Tom Cruise as Maverick doing all sorts of crazy shit. And you'd have Goose kind of sit there being like, oh, God, what the fuck are you doing? I'm here for you. I got your back. I'll be your wingman. Even though he's like, I can't believe you're fucking doing this. That was the Hondo's role in this film. Because I was like, I don't like you got that look on you. I can totally see the Goose saying this, having that whole thing, the whole exchange. You got that look on you. It's the only one I got between them. It's felt like the same type of relationship. Hondo is a little less outgoing than Goose was, but Hondo was pretty much that wingman. And as far as commanding officers go, I like Ham, but Ham is actually a little more. I like Ham was a little more cartoonish than Tom Skerritt, so I'd actually give Tom Skerritt the vibe there.
Yeah.
But God, I loved Charles Parnell as the Admiral, as Warlock. He was the guy that is totally supporting of Maverick being there. And he had a couple times he had those like fist bump moments himself. I was like, you belong here.
Wait, which one was Warlock?
Warlock was the black man with Ham.
With Ham. Oh, that was
Charles Parnell.
Somewhere. Yeah, that's right.
Charles Parnell. Loved him. He was my favorite thing. So Hondo and Charles Parnell were both two of my favorite people in the whole thing. As far as the actual like wingman from Top Gun itself, you had Merlin, fine, Kruger, fine. You had a couple other ones. Both of the classes were just overall fine. Rooster had a great dramatic arc. Hangman, again, was more Maverick than Maverick. At the end of the day, though, there was just more for me to love outside of Jester and Viper in Maverick than there was. Because Iceman cancels each other out for me. And everybody else was better in Maverick than they were at that point. So,
do you mean Iceman, like Val Kilmer and Val Kilmer cancel each other out, or Glenn Powell and Val Kilmer?
Val Kilmer and Val Kilmer cancel each other out for me because they're still wingmen, different times of their lives, but it's still wingmen as far as I'm concerned. So I think overwhelmingly to me this ends up being a Maverick. Then I added Ed Harris back in. All done. Not gonna lie. All right, Jarvi. So it's up to you. Maverick.
Yeah, it's interesting what Matty said about first off Glenn Powell, who was by far the standout in this for me, and I was interested that you said that you really like John Hamm, who I like the least in this movie, which is weird because I'm usually a big fan of John Hamm. Okay, when we talk about the wingmen and the wing women, because there's actually a very great role. She was freaking awesome. I lost her name somewhere. Monica Barbaro.
Yeah,
she was a very cool add-on into this, and she was just she freaking meshed so well in with the other guys. I mentioned Glenn Powell, who was freaking awesome to me. I loved Miles Teller as Rooster. So the wingmen kind of cancel each other out for me. There's no way to pick which I like better, the OG or Maverick. So it comes down to the commanding officers for me. And this is where Tom Skerritt and Michael Ironside take the cake. Like when we're with John Hamm, when we're with Warlock, they're fine, they're intimidating. But when Viper and Jester go up with the other one, like go training, like everyone's like, holy shit, it's Viper. Like you get this sort of, you're like, and you feel this fear and awe that they all have. Like Maverick even goes himself like, I'm going after Viper. And he almost fucks up the entire drill because of that. And there's like what's the word I'm thinking? Like there's respect and fear for these two characters. There's a better word for it. Like they're sort of like larger than life, notorious type of characters to these trainees. There's a good word in there somewhere that I'm not finding. But yeah, Skerritt, Ironside, that's what makes me go OG.
Fair enough. Viper and Jester for the win, as Kelly says. That's great. All right. Wow. This is not going the way people thought it would look like at this point. That's really interesting, I will say.
We're only halfway through. Give it time.
I know where the next one's going, though.
Next category, better action scenes. Maverick or Top Gun. Jarvi, we start with you. We're back to you.
Yeah, this is easily Top Gun Maverick. Like, everything about Top Gun Maverick, the way they shot it, what they actually did, the way put these actors through fighter pilot school, they were actually in those cockpits, they were directing themselves, and it friggin' shows. Like, even Tom Cruise can hide his age when the G's are friggin' in his face. Yeah, it all works. And I'll say this is not just in action movies, all-time greatest final mission in movies ever.
Wow.
The final mission, the way that action, like, you can't call it an action sequence because it's a fucking separate movie on its own.
Fair. Wow.
Well, we'll get to that in another category. I can't go too deep into that one. Like, okay, and I'll say what Tony Scott did with Top Gun OG is friggin' awesome as well. They actually, these action sequences still hold up, and they're awesome to watch, and you're really in the dogfight. There's just no way you cannot pick Top Gun Maverick in this one.
Wow. Okay, I'm picking OG Top Gun because Matty, what do you say? I'm gonna go to Matty first, then I'll go to Matty.
I'm gonna agree with Jarvi on 2 counts. Number 1, it being Top Gun Maverick, and number 2, it being the best final mission. I would have it tied with the scene I feel like that this mission was influenced by, and that's the trench run in A New Hope.
Yeah,
I feel like
the
the
formation,
flying through the canyon. You got to stay underneath the SAM turrets.
Yeah, that's
everything.
So fucking true.
I felt like there was a lot of influence there from the trench run in A New Hope, and it was the very end when they're flying the F-14 and it turns into a dogfight between an old F-14 and a 5th gen fighter pilot. And it's the definition of no fucking way they're gonna win this. It's just like they are screwed. Nope. Stops, goes behind, hits the missile, first one gone. I was like,
that's his move. That's Maverick's move.
I was like, that was it. He did the move. He hit the brakes and he flew right by. And I was just like, oh man, this is so cool. But even like the first one, where he gets up and where Maverick flies up with them and he's training them and he just absolutely schools every single one of them because they're like, we're the best of the best. Who are they going to get to train us? This guy who just whooped all of you.
Interesting. Very interesting. I agree. Okay, so you're a Maverick as well. Yeah. I did want to say, interesting enough, if you ever haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. It's called The Dam Busters versus Star Wars. The trench run you guys are talking about, Lucas was heavily inspired by a film from 1954 called The Dam Busters. And there's a trench run type. It's a dogfighting movie from World War II. There's like a trench run type. It's very much Lucas definitely appreciated it, and it's cool. It's cool. Let's see. So it's always about, because I mean the great films always are influenced by previous films. So I love that as well. But yeah, I think Maverick was definitely going for the Star Wars look at it. Absolutely. Because Star Wars is definitely more famous of the two at this point. But going into the category, the action sequences, I don't have much to add. You're both right. It's Maverick, easily, hand down. I mean, Tom Cruise has never been more Tom Cruise than in this portion of his career, doing all the stunts, doing all the flying, do everything. I mean, this is like he taught the flying and he was doing everything else. And of course, you got Miracle 1 and Miracle 2. I mean, but just everything about it was great. I was at the top of my grade. I think one of the best parts about Top Gun was that Top Gun Maverick was that it actually felt very almost unpredictable at times. There are times where I kind of was like, I think are they going to kill off Maverick? Are they going to have Maverick sacrifice himself? And I really bought into it. Maybe that's how he's going to go. They're going to have him sacrifice for Goose's son in a way. And then all of a sudden, and he gets shot down, and Miles Teller comes in, and I think the movie's over, and then no, we're not done. We're still gonna go get Maverick. We're get him back. And then the other, it's like this, it's never ending. It is like just like Matty said, a different movie. It's not even a different movie, just an extended movie at that point. The whole action sequence there at the end, spot on, so beautiful, so good. I cannot talk about that one more. It's very easily Maverick for me.
We briefly talked about it, but we gotta talk about the very first action scene in Top Gun Maverick when he's doing the Mach 10 thing, like when he's trying to reach that set. Oh my god, that's a great scene.
I'll benefit.
That's a
so
great scene.
I just love when he walked into the diner and just took the glass of water off of the plate, and the kid's just
Where
like
am
looking
I?
up at him.
Where am I?
Earth.
Earth. That's so good. It's so.
That was perfect.
Uh,
I need Edge of Tomorrow sequel, man.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great.
Give it 18 years.
Okay, we are 4 categories in. We're going to category number 5. 5 out of 7. Better love interest.
There we go,
Top
Krista.
gun.
You asked for it. Jennifer
right.
versus Kelly.
I did see
It's
that.
coming up right now.
Jennifer Connelly versus Kelly McGillis. Is this you, Connor, first? I think this one.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Kelly McGillis because while it is very cute, this is just a callback because Jennifer Connelly, while stunning as she is, she was the admiral's daughter that they talked about in the first one.
Exactly.
So it's like they've already been together. They've already had numerous flings. It's not as special to me because like they've hooked up in the past, and it's just like, okay, it loses the thrill of the chase for me. It's still nice. It's a lovely callback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on it at all. But like, you see Cruz like try to like up the cruisiness to get to Charlie, and it doesn't work. Like his cruisy charm doesn't really work. You see him in, albeit looking at it back now, the walking into the ladies' room scene.
Yeah, it's the shady one.
Little bit creepy, but like he's actually trying, and he has to go through a journey of self-discovery to get the girl he wants. Whereas this one, not so much. He just shows up at the bar and she's there.
All right, I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you on everything you just said. I think
I'm in totally in PLD's camp.
Jennifer Connelly is by. This wasn't even like I didn't even have a second thought on this one. I am not a big fan of Charlie in the first one. To be honest with you, I am not a big fan.
Oh, really?
Of Kelly McGillis. She's fine. She's okay. But first of all, Jennifer Connelly, I've been in love with since like Labyrinth in '85. So that's right there. You win me over. She's also been in like several movies with Ed Harris. That's another thing. But also beyond that, Jennifer Connelly in this film represented everything that this Maverick needed. Yeah, he had before. It's first he got the call back, which is nice. But Tom Cruise is kind of a broken Maverick, and she is there with him the entire time. Like she watches this all going down, and she's exactly what he needs in order to move forward with his life. He's there supporting him every step of the way in a much better way than Kelly McGillis ever did, as far as I'm concerned. I didn't believe Kelly McGillis when she was talking to Tom Cruise half the time. I actually almost believed that Tom Cruise had chemistry with a woman with Jennifer Connelly. That's the hardest thing I could ever think of. I don't think I've ever seen Tom Cruise have chemistry with any woman ever. This is the closest I've seen, and it was all on Jennifer Connelly's side. Because
you mean even the woman he married?
Not even that. I never believe that in a heartbeat. I didn't believe that in a second.
Wait, Tom Cruise married again?
No, talking about Nicole Kidman. No.
All right.
Fedora, this is why you no longer appear on my channel. I love it.
Wow, that was dry.
And yes, your call sign is because of Kelly McGillis, because your name is Kelly. I agree. I like you much better than I like Kelly McGillis, Kelly. But at the end of the day, to me, Jennifer Connelly was perfect for this role. It was an age-appropriate female for Tom Cruise, which was a very forward-thinking kind of thing they finally did. I love her and her daughter. I thought that sequence was great, especially the daughter moment. She said, just don't break her heart again. So I love having that past where obviously there was some stuff to build on that was broken, and they were able to come together and make it work at the end. I loved it perfectly. Jennifer Connelly, by far. And Jarvi, you have anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in between you two guys now because I really like Kelly McGillis, and this was probably, I'd say, the toughest category for me to decide on, because Kelly was just pure 80s like crush material. Like the way she acts, the way she moves, the way she dresses, the sex scene that's in there, it oozes like 80s in the best way possible. Like Tony Scott has gotten a lot of shit for being like style over substance, but that sex scene, that everything was sort of just way overdone. The music was there, like the 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 tongue.
It was
action,
trying
everything
to
was-
cover. It was trying to cover for the lack of chemistry. I think Tom Cruise is going to ask him if he wanted a grape poupon or something. I mean, like, this had nothing to do with sex at all. As far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. I've told this story before that the Tom Cruise sex scene has played an important part in my life. I'll leave it there. All right. Having said about this, about Kelly McGillis, I think what you said, PLD, TC finally has chemistry with someone, and it's because he finally found a love interest that's pretty well, roughly in the same age range, has that grace, that charm, and she also has that thing where she's the smartest person in the room.
Yes.
Like even when Tom Cruise goes into that bar, she's way more in control than Cruise is. And not even just what happens that he gets thrown out. Like she's like her poise and presence. She's like towers over Tom. Okay, that's a bad term. Sorry, TC. She towers over Tom Cruise in every situation that she's in, and she's. I'd say she's the perfect, not even the perfect love interest in this movie, the perfect woman that TC has ever had chemistry with. So I'm pretty much saying exactly what you said, PLD. This is going to Top Gun Maverick.
Perfect.
I also feel like I'm picking Kelly McGillis because me and Maverick in that movie share the same fear of commitment.
That's fair, I guess. I mean, that's a different thing. Okay. And yes, Bjorn Luna can always appear. Luna always appear. All right, then that is that. We're moving on to category 6. We're going into overtime just because we wanted to. We had 7 categories. Category 6, better fist pump moments, Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick. This me again, or is this you, Gunner? I can't remember. Is me? Okay, fine. Top Gun Maverick. Next story.
That came way too fast.
I mean, there were some great moments in Top Gun. I love a lot of Top Gun moments, but the Maverick moments hit me more, and probably because they build perfectly off Top Gun. That's what most of the best moments build off of Top Gun. The moments where, first of all, the Mach 10 moment that Jarvi talked about in the beginning, that's where I'm saving this one for it.
He's even going further. He's like,
going further.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And he goes
10:01,
10:01, 10:02. You know
in
he's
the
going to
moment,
go for it.
Talk to me, Goose. Right there. Just talk to me, Goose. Right at that moment, like, yup, I'm all on board in this.
Hold that thought in your mind for mine, by the way.
I will. Okay, fine. And then I have Ed Harris. For me, I know it's Ed Harris fist bump moments. Just the whole thing, the whole sequence where Ed Harris walks in, like, oh, Admiral, you're here.
He doesn't even say anything. He just gives the look when he first looks out the car window. He's just like...
They start talking to him like, you're here. I'm early. And so are you.
Yeah.
So I was like, did anybody offer you coffee? He's like, the looks that 71-year-old man can give, and like budget half his age, like everything about it. He's like, yeah, I was like, but even then, he shows respect when he's like, yeah, he's got balls. I'll give him that. So there are some of my fist bump moments, right? That whole sequence with Harris and with Tom Cruise pushing it. Love that. The moments where Tom Cruise really starts flying through, and Tom Cruise basically becomes Jester and starts shooting down all the other pilots.
Yep.
Great moments there. And of course, the fist bump moment when Tom Cruise says "fuck you" to John Hamm, basically, and they're about to cancel the mission or change everything up, and Tom Cruise just gets in the plane and just does it anyway and shows that can be done
in less time too.
In 2:15, like, oh,
everything about that is just so solid good. And then the end, the whole action sequence, every moment, Tom Cruise saving Rooster, Rooster going to help save them getting the old ancient plane up in the air. They're fighting and living through that. Hangman saving the day at the end. There's so many. I mean, Top Gun has some great fist bump moments. Don't get me wrong. There's some definitely fun moments. The inverting match in the beginning when he flips off the guy. Great moment. The whole sequence at the end where Tom Cruise saves Iceman. Okay. Iceman hugging at the end of Top Gun. Fist bump moment. Not nearly as good as a fist bump moment when Val Kilmer hugs Tom Cruise in this one. It's a great, especially at the end. It's a big emotional sequence. Val Kilmer is being in this movie as a fist bump, and not only that moment at the end there, who's the better pilot? Let's not ruin this. It's so perfect. I can't. I wish I could go on and on. This one was just easily Top Gun Maverick for me, and I watched Top Gun recently again. This one fist pump every time for Maverick. Charlie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any like the best Top Gun 86 moment that could rival with the Maverick moments. Because this is where I pretty much try to base this on. Because all I have like 10 fist bumps listed. They're all from Maverick. But I would probably say it's still the final mission when they graduate, they go up, and when Maverick has that freeze moment, when he gets caught in the jet wash and he's sort of like losing control, he's bugging out. Iceman's like, God damn, he's leaving us. It's a clear cut moment. It's your obvious choice that he just finds himself, talk to me goose, and Maverick's re-engaging. Everyone's like, fuck yes. Like that moment when he's re-engaging, that's probably my favorite OG Top Gun moment.
Yeah.
Everything else is about Maverick though. And I said it's probably my most favorite one is still the entire mission sequence. And one thing I really want to bring out is like they don't define the country that they're fighting, which I like. But but the pilot that they go up, like the dogfight that happens, like the Generation 5, they're going up against it. They shoot the rocket.
Oh, you mean the second?
And he doesn't move.
Guy?
He doesn't move. That no one's like Maverick goes, what the fuck? Like they say, what? Like does this amazing move, sort of like fucking drifts midair, returns to it. Like you're like, holy shit! This is like the enemy's Maverick. This is the guy on the enemy's side. Like we didn't see that in Top Gun 86 at all. I was like, yes, he's met his match now. So yeah, and the way like they start off with the trench run, it then turns into behind enemy lines because they get shot down. They freaking run into the hangar. They steal an F-18, which is then turns into Tomorrow Never Dies, where Pierce Brosnan runs in and steals the plane. And when the movie fucking ends, it turns into Pearl Harbor.
You just lost me. Last thing you lost me. That's okay. Matty, what about you?
You guys got one of these on hand?
No, I don't. But...
You might need it. Building off of yours, Paul, when Tom says numerous times, "Talk to me, Goose." There's a moment just as they're about to fly on the mission, and I'm getting misty-eyed already just fucking thinking of it. Rooster looks at the ocean because he knows that he could very well be joining his dad on this mission. He looks at like before they're flying, he looks at the ocean and he says 4 words, and it says, "Talk to me, Dad." And it mirrors the "Talk to me, Goose," and then he goes, "Talk to me, Dad." Mm-hmm. And fuck it, I knew it fucking happened. But and then he Jarvi, you mentioned that the bit where they said Maverick's re-engaging. Ham at 1 minute says, or someone says, Dagger 2 is re-engaging, and Dagger 2 is Rooster. And I was like, he is now like the perfect mix of his dad and Maverick. And when just that little look to the ocean, and you see the fear in his eyes, and he's breathing, he's like, and like you can see he's terrified, but then he says, "Talk to me, Dad," and then he just fucking goes for it, and then he saves his dad's best friend. And I was like, man, I was mad. Like I'm fighting it really hard not to cry right now, just because like it was like the whole thing. Yeah, there you go.
Do you want me guys to ruin this moment for you?
My last bit is like that moment when they've both crashed, and Maverick runs up and pushes him over.
Yeah.
And they start like going back and forth, and then they go to steal the jets. That to me was Maverick. Like I saw Goose. I didn't see Rooster. I saw Goose. I saw Maverick and Goose, but it was Goose's son, and I was just like, "Fuck."
I love it. I love it so much. And no, I don't want you to ruin it for me, Jarvi.
Jarvi, don't you?
I heard Miles Teller's interview with what he was talking about Maverick in the first one. He's like, yeah, like he was talking about the Bond and how he looked like Rooster. And then he went like, fuck, Maverick just took the dog tags, just chucked them into the ocean. Isn't that something that he would thought that I would like to have? Like, so, and I was like, he's looking at the ocean. He's like, fuck, Maverick threw these dog tags in there.
Okay, that doesn't actually make sense.
But then again, they could have worked that line in. He could have said something like, "You even threw my dad's dog tags into the ocean and gave them to me."
Yeah, that was so fuck. I get that. Okay, so
It was
Matty,
just
you're
that-
going
It was
Maverick.
just like that. Yeah, I'm going Maverick, but it was that little look to the water and then said, "Talk to me, Dad." I was just like,
So good, so good.
"Damn you!"
All right, we're on to our final category. Our final category that'll make or break Top Gun versus Top Gun Maverick. This is not a better, but it is kind of better, but let's compare and contrast beach volleyball versus beach football.
Is it football though? Because it's defense, offense. What the fuck are they doing?
As best as I can say, football. That's the best as I can come up with. Probably more like Calvin ball, where like the rules don't matter, but we're gonna call it football because they're throwing the football around. Go ahead, Jarvi. We're gonna start with you.
I really love both scenes. I love in Top Gun Maverick we didn't talk about that music. One Republic song that plays over the football scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we didn't prepare this category in advance, so I don't have it here. That song is freaking great, and I listen to this as much as I listen to the Lady Gaga song. And I think it's right, so they tried to remake the volleyball scene, and they succeeded. Like, there's flexing, there's oil up guys, there's friggin' just chest pumps. I don't know. The beach volleyball scene to me is a better one. I think it's because sure there's something about beach football where they pretty much they have like two big teams, and the point is to bring them together as a whole. In Top Gun 86, there's more like the two teams, like the two-man teams, are all competing with each other. So like the Maverick Goose connection over there is by far the stronger one. It's so cheesy, it's so ridiculous, but that's exactly why I freaking love that scene. It's iconic. I'm just, I don't have a better explanation than just it's more enjoyable to watch. I love the beach volleyball makes more sense than that Zach offense football scene.
So you're going football, is what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I'm going beach volleyball. I'm going OG.
You are doing OG. Okay, I thought you just
I'm going OG for sure.
OG. All right, Jarvis saying the OG volleyball scene. Okay.
Come on, in jeans. They're playing in jeans on the beach.
Flexing his mullies and that's all right. All right.
On the beach in actual long jeans.
You're saying volleyball. It's funny. It seems like the girls in the chat are now going for volleyball. That's an interesting choice. I'm not sure why, but okay, we'll go with it. Interesting. Matty, what about you?
I'm gonna take football.
You're gonna take football.
I'm gonna take football because I feel like, listen, I am I would say in our sphere, I'm probably like the king of the bros. Like I am one of the most bro-y dudes. So like seeing a bunch of like muscled up dudes like chest bumping, that's my vibe. Like that's my kind of movie. I'm into that shit. But this was kind of like it had the message behind it. You know what I mean? Like we got a little bit of both. And then there's just that moment where Maverick sits back in his chair. John Hamm comes up beside him and he's just like, "What are you doing? You wanted your team. There's your team." And who is it they're lifting up on their shoulders? It's Bob. Wasn't nice, man.
We didn't talk about Bob.
Wasn't nice, man. It was the more dorky kid playing the sport. Like when does the dorky kid ever get picked first in the team, right? And they're lifting Bob up on their shoulders as opposed to Iceman or Maverick or Goose. And I was just like, man, Bob got his moment.
All right.
And a Cruise run. Cruise, I think that's the only scene where Tom Cruise is running. Is when he gets the ball and he goes for the touchdown.
No, in the woods. When he's going
to you're right. You're right.
Rooster. He does
He did get a little bit of Tom Cruise run.
Yeah.
True, and that is definitely. And Tom Cruise is the greatest runner in the history of film.
Yeah,
as
he's
we
the fastest. He's the fastest man alive. They actually call him that in the movie.
That's true.
He's the fastest man alive. Everyone laughed in the cinema, but not like the way that it's supposed to be funny, just because it was so ridiculous.
Okay, so it's down to me on this one. Wow, this is actually a lot harder. I took this a lot more seriously than I should have, and it's a lot harder to think of. I mean, again, I will say up top, it's almost like the cruise situation. The volleyball scene fit the original Top Gun. The football scene fits the Top Gun Maverick. I mean, because the volleyball scene, there's no real reason for it. It's flex. It is slider flexing. It's just a fun moment. It's a music video moment in a music video movie. To be honest with you, that's what kind of it is. But Matty is right also in that there's a lot more to have. Like this could have been a nothing scene. This could have been, okay, we have the beach volleyball, the guys flexing, guys rolled up, we need something like that. We need a callback. It's going to be fun, yada. And it could have been that. But they actually took that and used it for something better. They actually made it kind of important to a degree with what Mike said, having the team moment. I did love that. And I got to be honest with you, one of my favorite characters from Top Gun Maverick is Hondo. I loved Hondo so much.
Yeah.
And as the larger, bigger, less athletic guy, I totally felt him when he caught the ball in front of all these athletic people are going to kick his ass.
But he pulled through.
Right? He pulled through. So as much as I should vote for volleyball because it is the OG and how can you vote against it, I'm going football. I got to go football. It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm sorry. I get your pick. No. It makes sense because your arguments was way better because I had no argument for this one. It was just like, yeah, I'm feeling more the volleyball scene
for this one.
They both are great. They both are fun. They're both exactly what they're supposed to be. So that means, folks, we are done, and I had to tally up these scores, which I actually have been doing the entire time. And we do have a winner. While not quite as clear-cut as we thought it would be.
No.
12-9, Top Gun Maverick is the victor.
Yep. There we go.
Maverick. A lot closer, especially in the beginning. The first couple of categories I was like, after the first three categories, it was like 7-2, and I'm like, oh, this is not going the way I thought it was going to go. But at the end of the day, it does prove our snap judgments are correct. Top Gun Maverick is the superior film.
If someone's asking, but which one was better, Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick, just give them the link to this episode.
Absolutely. That's what
we'll explain all the reasons why. And Kelly, bringing it back around to our prelim topic, in either Top Gun and Star Wars,
both
need more Honda.
I'm all about
if Tom Cruise never, and he probably will never return to Top Gun Maverick, I'd be totally okay with getting a spin-off with Bagman and Hondo and the new crew, Miles Teller. I'd actually really like to watch them.
That could be cool.
See more.
That could be cool. I could see it. It didn't quite save the day, Kelly. We were winning. It could have turned the tide at one point. There was a chance. It was the chance that if beach volleyball had swept, we would have been tied. I think it was exactly, which would have been very interesting. Because I'm not sure what we would have done at that point. We would have had a hung jury for the second time in a row. We have nobody to bail us out. But it does. So I guess so in a way, it did save the day for Top Gun Maverick. So that at least probably makes it better for you, Kelly, because I know you like Top Gun Maverick. I think you like Top Gun Maverick better, even though you wanted the original volleyball sequence to win. Football does make Top Maverick win, so we're good there.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
how
guys,
many times? Sorry. Matty's seen Top Gun Maverick once. PLDU once or twice.
I'm going to see one so far.
I'm probably going to go again either Friday or Saturday.
I would like to go see it again as well. There's a lot.
I'm going for the third time on Thursday.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, Matty, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Matty Gunner, Instagram, Matty_Gunner, and the Wild Jones Podcast Network every Thursday and Sunday for the ONU MMA show. And you guys can also find me here every Tuesday talking class action with these two lovely gentlemen.
Jarvi, my friend.
Class action. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Richard-Erik with a K Jarvi, and also on Letterboxd. Go follow me there. And weekly here with these two gentlemen on PLD projects, talking movies versus movies, actors versus actors, directors versus directors. So keep visiting us. We got lots of more good stuff coming your way.
And you can find me at Paul_DiNuzzo on Twitter. You can find me every week on Class Action. And this
Class Action.
Do you know how much this fucking weekend I've had to deal with people trying to do an English accent?
I love you. I love you guys. You know that. Every week on Class Action, you can also find me weekly doing Crown Jewels, the Queen podcast. I go through Queen's catalog. The new episode is coming out in about 10 minutes. I'm talking about a Smile track called Step On Me. From that every podcast feed, if you'd like to see that. Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film means myself and PJ Campbell. We will be coming back soon. Hopefully, we have tapings this weekend for the movie Trivia Showdown, so we're really tied out the past 2 weeks. So hopefully after the tapings this weekend, we'll be able to just buckle down and get in our Lord of the Rings trilogy episodes we're going to do from Brandon Buckingham. Speaking of that, I got to shout out my patrons from patreon.com/PLD projects. We have a couple patrons who I have to shout out every week, and I thank them very much for their supporting of the show of the podcast. I could not do it without them. Really have to say that they are a great crew. You can join them. We do hangouts. We do special content like the Two Mediocre White Dudes, Two Mediocre White Idiots in a Box, where PJ and I talk about Doctor Who. It's a lot of fun in there too. And those, we got Danielle Ramirez, Brandon Buckingham, Brandy Parker, Jeff Alsterman, John Lestrina, and Kelly W. Thank you so much, as always, for that. Also, find me at Action Industries Producing. The Action Guys has moved to Monday nights starting next week. That's going to be just for you guys for that. And also, like I said, the movie Trivia Showdown. Myself, PJ Campbell, write the questions with our team hashtag team question writers. Be nice to the question writers, all that jazz. It's all good. We love you all. And I'm ready to announce next week. I don't have a thumbnail. I should have got a thumbnail. But I'm ready to announce next week. I don't know if Jarvi and Gunnar know it, but I've decided to pull a little thing. We're gonna do it. Something we should have done a long time ago.
You already have a topic?
I do. We're doing it. I'm not gonna ask your opinion, because I think you'll be okay with it. It's an old one. It's a good one. Sly versus Arnie.
Yes. Sly versus Arnie.
We have not done Sly. We have not Sly versus Arnie. That's something on an action shit type show that we should have done a long time ago. So we're finally getting it done, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's get it done. So.
God damn, Sly versus Arnie.
Yes. And that could be true, Kelly. I actually didn't chance. I don't know if they're going to go next Monday or the Monday after. It might be net, but it's going to be Monday soon. Anyway, yes. So Sly versus Arnie be here next week, same time, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, and we will see you. We'll see you then. And of course, as always, justice has been served. Court is adjourned. Bye now.